Oh,
Hello? Mine's working.
You said it was okay. Okay. It's that at home tonight. Well, you don't think I will?
You better not.
I will. 1 minute warning. 1 minute warning. Does anybody want to do a moment of silence for the fires or, leave it alone? Are you guys opposed to that? Are you a quick moment of silence for the fire victims and flooding victims in our country? Yeah. Okay.
I was working, but I'm sure. The LA Rams. They're represented.
Seven o'clock, call the meeting to order. Join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'd like to take just a brief moment of pause and silence in honor of our country's tragedies in going on in LA and also the floodings in the Carolinas. Just for a brief moment, if you'd join me for a brief moment of silence. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Supervisor Hill,
Here.
Treasurer Anderson,
Here.
Trustee Appy,
Here.
Trustee Osling,
Here.
Clerk Swift. Here.
Thank you. You all have the agenda before you. And if you've had a moment and looked it over, which I know the board has, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented. Moved by Treasurer Anderson, supported by Clerk Squires. Any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. That motion carries. Next on the agenda is the approval of the consent agenda. As a late addition there, the police department has submitted one, and all the board members have a copy of the budget adjustments for January 14th meeting tonight, and involving operating gas and oil repair and maintenance and full-time officer wages and custodial wages to accomplish that. So given that in particular, anybody willing to make that motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
And I'll support that. Oh.
Lean back. Treasurer Anderson made the motion. Trustee Appy seconded the motion. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. All those in favor? Is there any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same motion carries. Thank you. Next thing is the note for the elected officials reports. Those are out on the table over there for the public to view, and also the board members for copies. And I would entertain a motion this time the elected officials reports be accepted and placed on file accordingly.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Clerk Squires. Second, Jim? Yep. All right. Seconded by Trustee Opp. Any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. We are now at our first public comment section. And these are comments on the action items in the agenda tonight, which are the 1 through 9 on your agenda. If a member of the public would like to make a comment on any one of those items on the first public comment section, please raise your hand. I will acknowledge you appropriately and have you come forward. Yes, sir. You want to come? Will you please come on up? Just have a seat. State your name, and if it's required spelling or If we don't. Yes, sir. You push the button, it should be
Are
on.
we on? Yep.
Yeah, you're on. You don't, we're finding out you don't have to like gobble it, but try and speak up a little bit
Yep.
because
Yep.
otherwise.
That's not a problem. Good evening. My name is Timothy Monet. I am a Lyon Township Board trustee. And tonight I'm here on behalf of not only as a Lyon Township Board trustee member, but I am also here as a concerned citizen. Tonight I would like to read a statement which would have to do with item 9 on the rescission of the Gerrish Township Special Assessment District for the sewer project. Some information came my way today, and it may or may not have an impact on your decisions this evening.
Okay, so you're.
Number 9.
Number 9, the rescission
Number
of
nine,
the
rescission of the sewer.
special
Special
sewer.
assessment. And if you're going to read off a statement.
Yes.
Then would you please provide the clerk with that after the meeting? so we
Absolutely.
have it for the record?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Go ahead.
So this came, as many people know, as a private citizen, I was and have been involved with a lawsuit pertaining to the sufficiency of petitions in Lyon Township in conjunction with the Special Assessment District. That has been ongoing for quite some time. Today, I'd like to read a statement from counsel on this matter. In the matter of Higgins Lake United, a Michigan nonprofit corporation, and Janet Krieger, an individual petitioners, and I was named as a representative for Higgins Lake United, versus the Lyon Township Board of Trustees and Lyon Township's respondents. Stipulation in order to dismiss appeal as moot stipulation. It is stipulated and agreed upon between the parties and through their respective counsel that the above captioned appeal should be dismissed as moot. The respondents have passed a resolution, Lyon Township, abandoning the sewer project and specifically the Special Assessment District, see attached. The signatures at question in this appeal were all connected to the Special Assessment District, which is now abandoned, rendering all signatures now and in the future invalid and unusable. As such, this appeal is now moot. The parties agree that should the township desire to establish a special assessment district in the future, the township would need to collect and verify new signatures as may be required by state statute. The township further agrees that should the Gerrish Lyon Utility Authority vote to move forward with the special assessment district at issue in this matter moving forward, Lyon Township shall not vote in favor in line with the attached resolution. Therefore, the parties stipulate to the dismissal of this appeal. Let's see here. The court, having been advised by all parties that this matter is now moot, it is ordered the above captioned matter is dismissed without prejudice and without cost. This order resolves the last pending claim and closes the case. In essence, this means that the sufficiency of petitions that were under, basically under the gun about how they acquired them, when they acquired them, why they acquired them, has now been settled. That includes township properties that were included illegally. That includes church property. That includes sufficiency of petitions that were never sufficiently, according to statute PA 188, which I am very well versed on, were never fully verified through the Register of Deeds office per statute. And that's where we are. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank you. And as I said, if you could supply the
Yep,
clerk with that correspondence you've read in here today.
absolutely.
For our accuracy and record. I appreciate that. Thank you. And nice to meet you.
Yep, nice to meet you,
Thank
Brian. Sure, yeah.
Is there anyone else in the audience that has a comment? Yep. Gentleman in the front row, I think, is Mr. Bertrand from Lyon Township.
Yes, it is.
Supervisor. The floor is yours, sir.
Paul Bertrand, Lyon Township. Good evening to you all.
Good evening.
I also had some comments in regards to item number 9.
Okay.
As Mr. Monet just read off, that issue has been settled, and we have already been moving forward in what the world is going to look like after the glue is set. The line board's been in discussion with Higgins Lake Land Conservancy since the summer. We've identified many of the commonalities we have and stayed away from differences. Regarding action planning for the protection of Higgins Lake, the line board sees no need for more steering committees or advisory boards, and those formed with only persons committed to a preordained agenda have only divided us as residents in the end. We will act on our residents' concerns and behalf instead of the GLUA agenda and the new, in my opinion, association boards and committees that are formed with an agenda ahead of time are not boards or committees, in my opinion. Under the mandate of the common sense and fiscal responsibility that we ran and won on, in the next month, we're going to pass the point of sale and time of transfer septic ordinance. That'll be the foundation for future additions to it. This matches all other northern Michigan townships. Most of them in the Benzie-Leelanau District Health Department and near Traverse City in that area. We will restrict fertilizer use near the shoreline. We will pass a short-term rental ordinance, again, as a foundation to work from, that is more in support of a resort area and the fact that that matters greatly in our economy. We're going to put a much stronger influence on creating and maintaining a green belt on the shoreline. I think everybody needs to understand that every blade of grass and twig on a bush or tree is all built from nitrates that it's pulling from the ground, and it's the last line of defense before it goes into the water. We're also going to join the Three Lake Association, which is Clam, Bel Air, and Torch, to share FAB, floating algae benthos, and golden brown algae research and action plans. They are well into this and have been for quite some time. We had to discover this on our own, but for all of you who look at the lake or have looked at the lake in the past few years, I've been here a long time, I'm sure most of you have. On occasion, there's this gooey slime crap that floats around in the spring, some years worse than others. I asked Lyon Township 2 years ago to help identify it. They wouldn't. I put a lot of research into it, so I now actually know what it is. The surprising thing is it's right across the board in the Northern Hemisphere. So Torch Lake has a Clam Lake, Bel Air. They already have alliances trying to do the research, figure out what they can do about it. We're going to join right in with them because there's a lot of smarter people than we are that are already working on this. And it's a big problem because it looks disgusting. Central Michigan University just came out last year that it exploded in 2014. Nobody really knows why. To blame it on septic systems is not accurate. There's a whole lot going on there. But most importantly, and by no means do I want to leave this out, because this may be the most important piece. We're also very happy to do an ask for a cooperative agreement with the Higgins Lake Property Owners Association and the Higgins Lake Foundation to join us in a lake-wide community effort to have all the lakeshore homes where you have to understand the previous inspections in Lyon Township came up with, I think, 11 complete fails. 9 of them are right on the lake. They have the greatest potential for impact when they're right on the water if a system failure occurs, that they be the priority for septic inspections for 3 years. We're going to work with Higgins Lake Land Conservancy, but by far, Higgins Lake Property Owners Association has the expertise and the membership to help pull this off. I'm not talking about ordinance. We're talking about trying to pull the community back together to work on things that are obvious frontline problems and to address those. We all love the lake. It's time for common sense. But I think we've all agreed that doing nothing is not a great idea. We know we can do some of these things right now. And they're the right things to do. And to do nothing is not acceptable. Thank you for your time on that, and I hope that we can grow this thing and pull the community back together to safeguard the lake to the best of our extent.
Well, thank you. Thanks for your comments tonight. And it is good to hear from you folks. And I'm hoping you and I will meet as we discussed. Look at your email.
I shot you some dates there. You have to get
Yeah,
back.
and I shot you back. What we can do, okay? Yep. I understand. Is there anybody else out there that wishes any comments on 1 through 9? Lana, that looks like Rick. It is Rick.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Good seeing you.
Yep.
Good seeing you. Hi, everybody.
Rick.
Okay,
Right.
I'm a little naive on some of this. I've been away for a while, okay? But I'm
Rick
hearing all this,
Federer.
and in Gerrish Township, obviously, I'm a citizen, taxpaying guy. And I don't expect an answer for this right now, but I'm hoping that somebody will give me a call and let me know this. Over the years that I've been here, I feel like Father Time. I've been here a while, but is there currently and has there been an established septic tank ordinance for inspection?
There has not in Gerrish Township.
Not.
There have been a couple efforts since I've been around. And pretty much the previous boards have been drummed out of the place.
Okay,
with
so
people
that
not
would lead
wanting
me,
to do
that would lead me to my next question,
Yes,
which
sir.
would have been, how many citations have we had in the last 10 years? And obviously, we can't do that, right? Okay, well, that's my main concern right now. I did see the word, and tell me, define this, rescission.
Yep.
What is that?
Rescind.
Okay,
It's a rescind resolution.
okay, perfect.
That's what,
Well, thank you.
you betcha.
Good seeing you all.
Thank you, Rick.
Appreciate it. Happy New Year to everybody.
Yes, sir. Anybody else? Okay, very good. Moving on. We'll go to number 1. And the first item up for business is a request for a motion that the board approve Gerrish Township Police Chief Mashinsky's request to extend a conditional offer of employment for a full-time probationary patrol officer position to Rodney Most, M-O-S-T, with the Gerrish Township Police Department, pending, of course, a copy of an M-Cole certificate, which is a licensure, a copy of a college transcript, passing a physical, drug testing, and background check here at Gerrish Township. So is there anybody here who'd like to make that motion?
So move.
Thank you, Treasurer Anderson. Any support? Support. Supported by Trustee Osling. Any further discussion on that?
What'd you call him?
Osler.
Did you?
No, I said Osling.
Okay.
We're still good.
We're still good.
Said Hoppy.
Yeah. No further discussion then. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose the same. Chief Mashinsky, perfect. You have what you need. For those of you that know, there's a shortage of all public safety workers, no matter who they are. So we're happy you were able to get one on the line here.
Just so everyone knows, we're not adding another officer. We're
Right.
Filling a vacant spot that we have from recent retirement.
Very good. Thank you very much. Number 2, it's the board approved Treasurer James Anderson to serve as the ex officio board member on the Gerrish Township Planning Commission effective immediately. I would make that motion.
I will support.
Okay, supported by Clerk Squires. Is there any further discussion, folks? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Jim, thank you very much again. I really
thank
appreciate
you.
you taking up that. You have a lot of experience in the development authority
Lot to
downtown.
give. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great fit. Thank you very
Mhm.
much. The next, number 3 is the motion that the board approve the reappointment of Gerald McReynolds for a 2-year appointment to the Gerrish Township Board of Review with the term expiring 12/31 of 26. I will make that motion.
I'll support.
Ordered by Clerk Squires. Any further discussion, board? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, motion carries. Number four, motion that the board, I would entertain one, the board approve the reappointment of Carlos Jean-Francois. I love saying that
I
name.
know you do.
For a 2-year appointment to the Gerrish Township Board of Review with the term expiring 12/31 of 26. Anybody willing to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Moved by trustee Appy,
I'll second.
supported by treasurer Anderson. Any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, the same. Motion carries. The next motion for consideration is approving the reappointment of Barb Stoffer for a 2-year appointment to the Gerrish Township Board of Review with the term expiring 12/31 of 26. Anybody willing to make that motion?
So moved.
Thank you, trustee Osling,
I'll support.
supported by trustee Hoppy. All those in, any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed the same, that motion carries. Number 6. I would entertain a motion that the board approve the reappointment of Brad Gibson for a 2-year appointment to the Gerrish Township Board of Review with the term expiring 12/31 of 26 as an alternate member.
So move.
Moved by treasurer Anderson. Any support?
I'll support.
Jinx, who is it?
Did
Thank
I?
you.
Okay.
Happy?
Yep.
Your name's shorter. We'll take you, trustee Hoppy. Is there any further discussion, folks? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those same motion carried. Number 7 is a formality motion here. I would entertain a motion that the board accept the letter of resignation from Joyce Ballard from the Roscommon Area District Library Board as a Gerrish Township representative effective immediately.
I'll move with regret.
Yeah.
Amen.
She's been a founding member on that board
Yes,
and
she has.
put a lot of time and effort in it.
I think I mentioned at the work session, I think she's a community treasure.
She is. She is.
Anybody support that?
I'll support.
Thank you, Clerk Squires. Any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carried. We will be looking for a replacement for her position. And working on
Post
that.
that or?
Yeah,
Or
it's just, we will after
Okay.
tonight and it'll
Yeah,
finish
yeah.
her term through 26.
Yeah, it'll be to finish her term. Yes. So we'll be looking forward to that out there. Public be looking forward to that as an announcement of a position that becomes available to
Mhm.
represent the township on the Roscommon Area District Library Board as a Gerrish Township representative. Number 8, make a motion that the board approve Treasurer Anderson's request to accept $2.85 a parcel rate for the Roscommon Area Public Schools 2025 tax collection. I have a motion,
I'll make that motion.
moved by trustee Hoppy, support,
Yeah.
supported by trustee Osling. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Aye. That motion carries. I think the next one, you're gonna have to bear with this because it's a long read. But we need to read it and then we'll act accordingly as you wish.
So we make a motion first. And then you read it.
No, I'm gonna read it and then we'll do see if someone's willing to make it as presented,
Okay.
okay?
Yep.
Okay, so this is going to be resolution 2025-01-14-1. The resolution to rescind special assessment process for sanitary sewer system. And it'll be at a regular meeting of the Gerrish Township Board in Roscommon County, held at the Gerrish Township Hall, 2997 East Higgins Lake Drive, Roscommon, Michigan, 48653 on the 14th day of January 25. Whereas the Gerrish Lion Utility Authority, GLUA, was established by Gerrish Township on April 13, 2021, and Lyon Township on April 21, 2021, pursuant to Public Act 233 of 1955, MCL 124.281, when articles of incorporation were adopted by each township as a constituent municipality for the purpose of exploring the possibility of acquiring, owning, improving, enlarging, extending, or operating a sewer service of system to address wastewater collection and treatment and declining water quality in or near Higgins Lake. Aforementioned afterwards in quotes, the project. Whereas at a regular meeting held on June 14th, 2022, the Gerrish Township Board did adopt resolutions 2022-06-14-01 and 2022-06-14-02, which initiated special assessment process to fund the sanitary sewer improvements around Higgins Lake. Resolution number 1, which is defined as Resolution 2022-06-14-01, was adopted pursuant to MCL 41.721, also known as PA 188 of 1954, as a tentative declaration of the township's intentions to make the improvement with an estimate of cost of the improvement to be assessed and a time and place to meet and hear objections to the improvement in special assessment district. A virtually identical resolution was adopted by Lyon Township on June 15th, 2022. That resolution is number 2022-GLUA or GLUA1. Resolution number 2, Resolution 2022-06-14-02 was adopted pursuant to MCL 41721, declaring the township's intention to proceed under resolution number 1 for the purpose of, and I quote, allowing the township or the GLUA to file requests for external funding for the proposed improvement. In the event supplementary funding is not obtained, the township board will not proceed forward unless it reevaluates the feasibility of the proposed improvements to ensure the costs to be allocated by special assessment are reasonable, end quote. A virtually identical resolution number 2 was adopted by Lyon Township on June 15, 2022, resolution number 22-010, except it referenced resolution number 1 as 2022-GLUA, GLUA1. Whereas both resolution number 1 and resolution number 2 found pursuant to preliminary plan dated May 5th, 2022, that the estimates of the costs for the proposed sanitary sewer and water system improvements in Gerrish Township would cost the benefited properties in Gerrish Township approximately $79,560,000. And Lyon Township's resolution number 1 and resolution number 2 estimated the cost to be benefited properties in Lyon Township at approximately $35,440,000. Whereas, due to the estimated costs, the Gerrish Township Board, as well as the Lyon Township Board, did include a provision in each of their respective resolution number 2, among others, that the boards were, and I quote, sensitive to its residents' concern concerning the affordability of the special assessment on benefited properties, considering the estimated costs thereof, and the board desired to enable the improvements to be made at a reasonable cost, so as not to impose an unreasonable hardship on the benefited properties and property owners. Finally, both Gerrish and Lyon Township's resolution number 2 provided outside funds from the state or federal government would be sought, but that, quote, if funding is not received and therefore costs cannot be made reasonable for those to be served by the project, the board will reevaluate the feasibility of the project, end quote. Whereas the final paragraph in resolution 2 by each GLUA constituent township provided the following, quote, number 1, the township board intends to proceed under resolution 2022-06-14-01 for the purpose of allowing the township or GLUA to file requests for external funding for the proposed improvements. In the event supplementary funding is not obtained, the township board will not proceed forward unless it reevaluates the feasibility of proposed improvements to ensure the costs to be allocated by special assessment are reasonable. And there is emphasis is supplied by bold in that last statement. Whereas on September 12th, 2023, the Gerrish Township Board did adopt resolution number 2023-09-12-14, which determined the township would proceed with the public improvements, did approve the plans and estimate of costs, and made a final determination of the special assessment district, and in parentheses, SAD, as provided by Public Act 188, but that the project contemplated included the participation of Lyon Township to provide sanitary sewer service to properties in both townships near the waters of Higgins Lake. Again, that's bolded with emphasis applied. Whereas GLUA has successfully applied for and received a watershed council grant in the amount of $40,000 and a federal community project funding grant in the amount of $1 million for those purposes specified in the grant applications and or the agreement, as well as other personal and organizational donations. Whereas there has yet to be a second public hearing on the special assessment rule by the township. Whereas on or about December 2nd, 2024, fellow GLUA constituent municipality of Lyon Township adopted resolution number 2024-007 titled Determination on Advancing the Construction of a Step Sewer System near Higgins Lake, and resolved as follows. The Township Board will not move forward with the proposed step sewer project as has been presented. The Township will not move forward with the next step of the special assessment process for a step sewer project, and all resolutions or partial resolutions in conflict herewith shall be and same are hereby rescinded. Whereas more than 2.5 years have passed since Gerrish Township's resolution 2022-06-14-02 was adopted, and it does not appear any other outside funds beyond those identified above will become available to supplement funds that would be obtained by a special assessment. Further, that resolution number 2023-09-12-14 contemplated the project necessarily included the participation of Lyon Township. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Township Board of Gerrish Township, Roscommon County, Michigan, hereby declares as follows. Number one, while the Gerrish Township Board still believes options need to be further explored to prevent the further decline in the health and water quality of Higgins Lake, Gerrish Township cannot reasonably proceed with the special assessment for the project as planned and previously approved without Lyon Township. Gerrish Township has, consistent with the terms of resolution number 2022-06-14-02, reevaluated the feasibility that, without the involvement of Lyon Township, the cost to be allocated by special assessment for the proposed step sewer project will therefore become unreasonable. Number three, Gerrish Township shall not move forward with the next step necessary to impose a special assessment for a STEP, S-T-E-P system, sanitary sewer project, and therefore rescinds resolutions 2022-06-14-01, 2022-06-14-02, and 2023-09-12-14. Number four, all other resolutions or parts of resolutions in conflict herewith shall be and same are hereby rescinded. Number five, Gerrish Township will continue to seek other or different remedies to improve the health and quality of the waters of Higgins Lake, which will include any continued efforts by the existing Gerrish Lyon Utility Authority and its understanding any funds currently being held by GLUA be expended accordingly. At this time, I would entertain a motion by a board member that we approve this resolution 2025-01-14-1 Is there any board member willing to make,
I will make that motion.
moved by Clerk Squires,
I'll second.
supported by Treasurer Anderson? Any further discussion by board members?
I think
And, excuse me, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Jim, what we're discussion?
which is said in the body of this is that we're going to continue to support the needs of Higgins Lake. I'll call it the health of Higgins Lake and the efforts of what's left of the GLUA authority. We're just pulling away from the special assessment district that was established. That no longer seems like it makes a lot of sense. There will likely be eventually, if another sewer system were to come to pass, a different special assessment district. And that, when the time comes, we'll deal with it, or somebody will deal with it at that time. So I got that right?
Sir.
With it?
Yeah, I mean, that's it at this point and at this hour today, yes. You know, as we all know, the Gerrish Line Utility Authority is literally owned by the two constituencies. And everything depends on whether or not the two are still involved.
As of
That,
today,
that is today, I'm not, I've received nothing that says we're not. And I believe as of last night's GLUA meeting, it did not get clarified for that at all either, so. So yeah, she did hear that correctly. And as we talked about at our work session from me, I don't think there's any healing in this community until we have this rescission of this special assessment district. It's a lot of money. The project is there's a lot of things that a lot of people would like to see happen, to include some of those things that I know that Mr. Bertrand had articulated as well. Septics and fertilizers and erosion controls, and there's just a lot of stuff out there. That being said, I have the motion, I have a support, and I'm going to ask if for a roll call vote on this.
Supervisor Hill,
Yes to rescission.
Treasurer Anderson,
Yes.
Trustee Appy,
Yes.
Trustee Ostley,
yes,
Clerk Squires.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you to the audience for listening to that long, drawn out.
Resolution very adopted.
I appreciate that. Thank you. So we're on to the next one. Is there any board comments that anybody wants to make other than what we made about those, or anything else at this time? Jim,
yeah, I think I do.
go ahead, Jim.
Don't mind, I'd take another minute.
Yep, absolutely.
I, from the beginning, well, from the last couple of meetings, I have told the board that I would keep them advised of the work that I'm doing on what we've called the health of Higgins Lake. And this was just something that I was attached to my monthly report. And I just thought I'd read it. I think it's a position of where I think we are today, but bear with me. I continue to work daily on the HOS initiative, refining the high-level PowerPoint presentation that is on the website, and am developing a more detailed presentation that lays out the expected work of the subcommittees. There is now, actually next week, a Microsoft Project Gantt timeline with activities scheduled for the next year on the website. The board has authorized the release of position descriptions for the new steering committee and subcommittees. Applications for these positions will be taken starting in mid-February. We will start to look through them and make some selections in mid-March. In the meantime, we continue to prepare plans for the committees and set some directions for them. I wanted to reiterate the vision of the health of Higgins Lake. People will likely get tired of hearing this from me, but nevertheless, we need to refocus our collective efforts to analyze the data that is out there, gather more if necessary, get it into a form that's easy to understand and reliable. It needs to display the trends of the quality of the lake over the last few decades and project what we can expect in the future, both if we act and if we do not act. There are things that we can do soon and others that will take time, but we need to keep moving. Plans and proposals will follow. I would like to also see that GLUA develop a presentation to articulate their overall plan to address any potential sewer options. What are the options? How to communicate the options? What are the estimated costs? What is the timing of their work? What resources will be required? Who will be spearheading the project and the engineering effort in the face of the community? Once again, we are looking to exploit your talents and on this important project. This is an exciting bipartisan effort. Have a look at the website to get involved. And the mission statement that we had put on before was to facilitate and guide a renewed collaborative effort of stakeholders with a common interest in securing the overall health of Higgins Lake for generations to come. Just want to get it out there. Well, you know, there's a lot of wondering what's going on, it seems. We've been talking about it at the board meeting and at our work sessions. And I just want to keep it in front of the public. That's all I wanted to do. So, I think that's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Jim.
Things are going well. We're all reconciled and tax collections are on track. So, and working well with the clerk's office.
Good. And you and I are scheduled for Thursday to
And we're working on the budget.
have our
Yep.
next piece of budget work. And then of course, a couple weeks after that, or week after that, we have a budget work session
Yep.
for the full board. And there, Mary Jo. Any
These are last
comments?
comments?
Any comments?
Oh, any comments? No, I can't think of anything.
Michelle?
No.
No.
Mm-mm.
Okay, we're on to public comments. These are the end of the meeting public comments and anybody has any comments, certainly willing to take any at this time. I know everything's a lot to digest now. I think there's still a lot more work to do on everybody's hot topic, which is the sewer piece, the whatever piece, moving forward as to how it all rolls out. So I think that for my closing, if there's no public comments out there, my closing of the meeting is I look forward to meeting with Mr. Bertrand and so that we can explore Gerrish and Lyon Townships likenesses and those kinds of things and see if we can kind of piece some things back together and to move together in an intelligent process. So I have great hopes for that. Paul, check your email, and see what we can come up with. So anybody else?
Can we comment again?
You sure can. Second public comment. Yes, sir.
Again, Paul Bertrand from Lyon Township. Yeah, I check my email in the morning and then the rest of the day is chaos. So. But I will get to it.
Join the
And
crowd.
yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting. I
Yep.
had mentioned to you before, but we had a lot of things to do before we could get to this point.
Yes.
I wanted to mention two other things among many other. For Trustee Asling, I have been chasing around studies and trying to figure out what's fact and what is allegation.
Right.
For pushing 3 years now. Actually, Mary Jo gave me documentation many years ago. And when I looked at it, that started me in my search on this stuff.
Sure.
Two of the things that really stood out was you cannot, nearshore water quality testing is completely unreliable according to Eagle and according to Progressive Engineering, a company I used to work for when I was the inspector for the Markey Township sewer. You have to understand that the wind and the water and the wave action and the time of year and the temperature, all of these things join together to make it almost impossible to determine a water quality trend from nearshore water quality testing. That's where the other side of the coin is the Clean Lakes Monitoring Program does their testing in the basin. And that has remained flat steady for 20 plus years on a nutrient level. But the bigger issue is that 6 years of consecutive testing and repeated testing, scientifically approved testing in the same locations is what is the standard to even sniff at the potential of a water quality trend change. And somewhere in all of this, I heard, well, we're going to do a couple of things for 2 years and see what happens. I just want to caution that whatever we enter into going forward, you're looking at a long-term project here for the health of Higgins Lake, and hopefully it's a community event. I don't know that I'll see the end of it or live that long. We're trying to set something up that for future people to continue with. The other issue is that for the inspections in Lyon Township, there was over 500. I talked to Nick Sargent about this. There's data out there that was construed to be, oh my God, there's a million problems. The health department gave me their data. They never said any of this. This was basically created in Lyon Township as being a way to put a worst case scenario out there. What they actually had was, I believe it was 9, maybe got to 10, possibly 11 now, complete fails. They were 9 of those were right on the water. Hence the obvious inclination to assume that if you did 500 and some tests and you only had that many fails, and they were right near the water, and the obviously the distance from there to the water is shorter than 300 feet back, 600 feet, quarter mile, and all of the drainage through the soil that removes some of it. Is 100% effective? No. But obviously closer is not a real good idea to have a fail. And the other aspect was that all of the Lyon Township septic inspection process was considering that you had a problem and calling it a problem if it was not up to current code. No other township in northern Michigan does that. If you think about it a little bit, what you're demanding of the people is complete changeover from something that is existing and still working. So if it passes the inspection and the system is still functioning, is it perfect? No, but it's still functioning. The septic version that we repealed demanded you had to bring it up to the current code. Nobody does that. Okay. So in the data that you're looking at and that you would be gathering, when it says that there was, a percentage of them as fails and a percentage of them that were deemed unacceptable, the last data I got from the health department was 70% passed. 28% had a recommendation, which means the health department is saying, you might want to consider bringing us up to code. I talked with the health department and Steve King about this. They're not going to come and tell you you have to do that. They're not going to come and tell you that too close to a water well is a problem. If you have a concern, get a water test done. They're not going to mandate any of that because it is not a health crisis. So you have to start from that premise. I appreciate you diving into this and everybody being concerned. As I said, I hope that this can be the beginning of the community coming together on the things we agree on. We don't need to argue about the stuff we know we don't disagree on. As you mentioned, there are some obvious things we can do.
I feel there are.
So thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Anybody else have a public comment? Yes, sir. Mr. Monet, come on up again.
Thank you, Timothy Monet,
Sure.
Lyon Township. I just want to reiterate something I stated last night. There seems to be, even with peers and people I know, that there's this misconception.
Can you speak up?
Yep, there's this misconception. I feel like sometimes of GLUA. GLUA is just designed for one purpose and one purpose only, and that was to create or implement a sewer and be an advisory board. GLUA is not designed to spend countless hours and monies to determine the health of Higgins Lake. That is not their objective. And I think for some reason there's a lot of misinformation out there that people think GLUA is the answer. I don't believe so. As far as, the health of the lake, there's a lot of other committees out there. I've been spewing stuff for about 4 years now that I can't believe after 4 years, the townships with the rights and authorities that we have not put more pressure on the state of Michigan. I have said this 10,000 times, and I'm going to say it here again tonight. Article 4, Section 52 of our state constitution, amended in 1963. The legislative branch has a duty to secure the safety and protection of all wildlife, natural resources, and waters in the state of Michigan. If this lake is truly in danger, with the money that they invest in this lake, the money they collect from the state parks and their vested interest, why in the world, if I were a township leader in a sense, I'd already be suing the state of Michigan for not doing their duty. Huh?
Now you are.
Well, I am now. Yeah, we'll see. Because I just think it's ridiculous that for what these people in the position in their oath of office, that there isn't more pressure on the state of Michigan instead of bickering between ourselves all the time. If there were truly, truly a problem, where is the state?
I agree.
On a different note, and this has to do with the steering committee. I have to just say, because this is me as a citizen, I hate the name. I think the last thing we need is something, another committee called a steering committee and another government entity steering us in their direction. I have 5 of these booklets with speeches dating back for 4 years that I begged different boards, GLUA and others, to recognize the due diligence of our citizens when it comes to green belts, master plans, erosion control, and we were all dismissed. During my campaign, I had come up with something that I called Higgins Lake WACT, which was and it actually was Watershed and Community Conservation Director, but it actually could be a delegation. Moving forward, this is a delegation and a coalition of people. It shouldn't be steered by any government entity anymore because it is a delegation. We were mocked, we were ridiculed, we were made fun of, and basically it's like our lake stewardship program we had talked about, but now all of a sudden for everything that we were mocked for, Mr. Osling's presentation, no disrespect whatsoever, it's now a great thing because a government entity said, hey, let's move forward with a steering committee. How many committees do we need until everyone gets together? With all these speeches and everything else, I just think it's time to declare the intentions moving forward clearly and concisely. And just because a new committee deems it necessary doesn't mean it's any more meaningful than what people have been saying for years. Lots of intelligent people got us to this point, and yet at the presentation at other times at your meetings, I heard 5 seconds or less mentioning and actually recognizing people in the past, and that was Mr. Knifick in his research. The only reason you can have a steering committee, in my opinion, is because of all the due diligence of both townships and their residents talking and talking and talking about these issues for all these years, and we were all dismissed, and that's unacceptable. And I just hope moving forward that there is a better coalition, a better communication, and yeah, I mean, just people need to come together, but they cannot be dismissed. And finally, and I know it wasn't meant this way, Mr. Hill, but I take complete exception with your comment at your last meeting that some of the most intelligent people around the lake are from Gerrish Township that have college degrees. I wasn't fortunate enough to finish my college degree. I know you did, but I will go toe to toe and any day with anyone in these 2 townships who's better versed on PA 188. I would ask any of you, does anyone know what the gold standard is for special assessments in the state of Michigan, Dixon Road Group versus Novi in 1986? Does anyone here know what the Supreme Court allocated for what vacant lots and how they should be assessed dating back to the early 1900s? Nobody's wanted to ever look at this. We've still never answered the questions as townships, what are we going to do with vacant lots? I have proposed many Supreme Court cases that were landmark cases and still taught at Harvard and University of Michigan to this day about what the Supreme Court has stated about vacant lands. Nobody wants to listen. So there are a lot of intelligent people out there everywhere as long as we all take the time to listen. Thank you.
Agreed. Thank you. Anybody else? Any other board member? All right, very good. Take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Clerk Squires.
I'll support.
Support by Trustee Hoppy. Any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Thank you very much for attending the meeting tonight. Appreciate your attendance. Thank you.
But there's a protocol. We don't talk